Those of you who have been following me for a while know that I am not afraid of a challenge, and 2024 was certainly full of different furniture challenges. From pieces with severely damaged finishes or missing finishes, joints that don't line up, mouse poop, odors, tons and tons of scratches. Each piece in this list had its own challenges, and as such, I had a different vision for each piece. I'm only going to be covering my top 10 favorite from this year in this video, so in no particular order, here are my picks. So grab yourself a drink and some snacks, have a seat, and enjoy these inspiring furniture makeovers and restorations. First up is this very well made but very neglected and beat up Malcolm mahogany dresser, or chest of drawers technically. This piece has obviously been well used and it's time for an update. I didn't want to change too much about this, so my main mission with this piece was just repairing all of the really damaged finish as well as veneer repairs that needed to be made. In some situations, I was able to glue down the loose veneer or patch in new pieces, and where I couldn't really do that or there were small areas, I used wood filler and markers to mimic the wood grain. Now, this monstrosity was probably my favorite piece from 2024. And it's not because it's any big, expensive, fancy antique. This is not a map cabinet. It's not even wood. This is entirely MDF. But what makes this project my favorite is I was able to basically recreate it and make it look like an actual map cabinet. I ripped my own veneer on a bandsaw to face all of these faux drawers with, added new hardware, and I think this piece looks like $1,000,000 now. But have a look at how I got to that point. This piece from last July was free to me, I just had to go pick it up, but this was one of the stinkiest ones of the year. She was pretty banged up, but I had a feeling this piece was going to come back to life in a big way. The top was super wrecked. I have a feeling this is not the original top. I talked about that in the original video. I can't say for sure, but it just seems like a strange fit for this piece. Now the carcass of this piece is made of butternut, sometimes referred to as white walnut, and then we've got beautiful burled walnut on the fronts. But again, this piece had been sitting outside for a while and was super smelly. Really offensive, but let's have a look at the transformation of this piece.
Thank you.
Now, I paid a fair bit more for this Art Deco piece than I normally do on project pieces, but I just knew the potential that this had. Despite the pretty banged up appearance initially, this was actually one of the most favorite pieces by viewers of the year. So if you haven't seen this one yet, hopefully you enjoy this sort of sped up version of this piece's transformation. There are quite a few furniture flippers in my area, so finding pieces to work on can be a bit competitive. Because of this, a lot of us will commit to pieces based solely on photos and seller's description before actually seeing the piece in person, and sometimes that bites ya. I did not expect a dresser full of mouse poop and dirt, but that's what I ended up with. This is a solid wood frame with laminate, pretty much everything else. Be that as it may, there's still hope for this piece. This next piece is a bit of a funny story. I tried to give this away for weeks out on the curb. Every day I would take it out, every night I would bring it back inside. Nobody wanted this, so finally I had to accept the fact that if this was going to live on, I was the one who had to change it. So I decided to do something a little bit different. I'm definitely thinking outside the box with this one. I had a need, I had this piece, somehow I put the two together, and I'm excited to show you what I decided to do with this. This next piece from the fall is definitely a departure from what I normally do, but as soon as I saw this online, I had to have it. It was really, really rough. The finish was nearly non-existent, and what was left was in pretty bad shape. This piece was full of stains and marks and dings everywhere. Almost all of the joints had failed. The glue had failed. This was going to take a ton of work to bring back. I didn't know exactly what this was. I still don't, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to do what I can to bring this back. Over the years, I have done a ton of teak veneered tables, and most of them are in pretty rough shape. This one is no exception. I had to clean the mildew off it before I could even bring it home. There's decades and decades of grime and old polishes that have attached themselves to the finish, not to mention a ton of scratches and some pretty significant water damage. I had to repair a lot of the solid teak edge banding as well. This was a super satisfying, true trash to treasure story. I hope you enjoy it. This table is really old and in really poor condition. I need to make something abundantly clear here. There's a difference between patina and damage. Yes, this piece has a lot of patina on it, but the majority of it is just damage, and the longevity of this piece was severely in jeopardy. This piece needed to be redone. I was very mindful of the work that went into this. This is a fairly crudely made piece, but despite being nearly 200 years old, it doesn't have to look like it's on its last legs, so to speak. I did a very gentle restoration on this piece, making sure to keep every mark, every ding, every little piece of history, while also making sure that it was sealed to protect the longevity of the wood. This storage chest was the last video that I posted for the year. That was an actual project. It had so many issues with the finish, from peeling and flaking veneer areas where it was gone completely, like the back. The inside was in really good shape, but the outside definitely needed some love. Even the pulls on the bottom drawer had to be replaced. The drawer bottoms also needed some love. It looks like someone tried to fix them up before, but we're gonna give it a makeover and see if we can get this piece back in the land of the living. I just want to thank everybody for your viewership, your friendship throughout this past year. I have a lot of exciting projects coming up in 2025. I hope you all have a very happy new year, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one, in the new year.